First they came for the cops. Then they came for the Confederate flags. Now they're going after white presidents, apparently, like Roosevelt and Christopher Columbus. And now they come for Jesus. And if we don't put up some kind of resistance, this is where our country is going, down the toilet. And that's not how our founding fathers set it up for us. So we got to stand up for freedom and liberty at some point. Someone who knows a heck of a lot about more than this than me, John Guandolo, joins us right now. He's a counterterrorism expert, former FBI agent, and president and founder of Understanding the Threat. Great name, because most people don't. The only organization in America providing tools to leaders, police, and citizens to dismantle jihad networks in their local communities. And it sure seems to me, John, like this Antifa, Black Lives Matter band of thugs is just like ISIS. It's another, you know, very fragmented terrorist organization.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Great to be on with you. Yeah, we have two distinct threats on the ground in the United States and strategically, and that is obviously the communist counter-stater movement and the jihadi, the Islamic counter-stater movement. And the problem is each is dangerous to the United States, but they're working together. So at the ground level, Black Lives Matter is a communist organization. Antifa is a communist organization. For those not aware, we've put out a fair amount of information to detail that. But Black Lives Matter was formed out of the Chinese-backed Freedom Road Socialist Organization, which is the largest communist organization in the United States. And Black Lives Matter was born out of that. Its three founders, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, are openly Marxist, communist. So there's no question that this is a communist effort, and what we're seeing around the country is a coordinated communist effort in league with the jihadis, especially Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, but others as well. So yeah, what we're watching is literally what we have been briefing to leaders since 2007, and in the last few years have talked about. This is how it's going to come down. The left, the political left, the communists, are the hammer for this revolutionary movement, for the Islamic movement, and they're working in tandem.
So, you know, I have on this show likened their behaviorisms as, you know, an ununiformed militia, much like ISIS, and, you know, local leaderships, and then they take that up, you know, residents in these small villages, they occupy them, then they take over the businesses, then they take the women and do whatever they want with them, and then, you know, slowly by slowly, they just use, you know, what would be, you know, referred to in the FBI, I guess, is, you know, they're like the mafia when they take over little pockets, and then they try to move that. You're saying it's not like that. You're saying it is that they are teamed up with the Muslim Brotherhood and other jihadi organizations.
That's right. I'm saying it's like that, but it's actually worse, because at a strategic level, at a national and international level, they're working with Communist Party, the international, you know, Comintern, the International Communist Party, and they have been. I mean, you know, Manning Johnson, who was a member of Congress from the 22nd District of New York, was a leader in Communist Party USA until he renounced it and actually testified. And he said, look, the purpose of what we call Antifa, which was set up in the United States as the version of Antifa, they may say they're for X, Y, and Z, but their purpose is to subvert the U.S. government and overthrow it. And that was, you know, that we're talking over 70 years ago when these things were established. You know, that was established in Germany in 1933, Antifa, the anti-fascists, but that was a communist movement that worked as a part of the Nazi party. And then when it came into the United States, was directly a part of Communist Party USA. So yes, this is an organized movement, and we've been tracking this for a long time, and they're at the ground level, at the national level, and at the international level, working together, the jihadis. And this is the key to what you've just articulated. You're right. as to how they operate, but the key is the nonviolent work that they do, the communists do, and they've penetrated our key components of government just like the jihadis have. The violence that they're doing is used to greatly accelerate what they're doing in the nonviolent realm to literally change the form of government we have.
Yeah, well,
policy by policy.
When you start seeing these defund the police, you know that's what Hitler wanted to do first, get rid of all the police types and bring in the brown shirts so that he had control. And, you know, I just quoted, you know, this famous quotation of, you know, first they came for the socialists and, you know, then they came for the Jews, then there was no one left to come for me. They're talking about now, one of the leaders on this thing, about ripping down Jesus statues. Could that be a real, you know, nationwide flashpoint when most of this country was founded on, you know, Christian values, if they start taking down Jesus?
Absolutely, and that's their intent. That, you know, the communist movement in the United States, when you look at their doctrine and how they operate, their primary target, first and foremost, is always Christianity in the society, because they know in the West that those principles that are held in the Bible are what holds the society together. Love God, love neighbor. That's the foundation of our government. It's the underpinning of our law. And when you look at that and you look at how they attack it, they attack the family unit, they attack Christianity and any form of religious expression inside our society, if it has to do with our Judeo-Christian heritage and the roots of the Bible, the Old and the New Testament. Now, if it comes to, you know, Satanism, if it comes to Islam, if it comes to the Wicca, oh, they're fine with witches and Satanists and jihadis preaching their stuff in the school, but not Christianity and Judaism. That's out.
Yeah, it's pretty scary because, you know, unfortunately, the number one currency to fund these terrorist operations is the USD. And, you know, the reason they put in God We Trust on it, because that is pretty much the bond that keeps America tight. And even people that aren't Christian, but they're good-serving members of other faiths, they all respect each other's religion. That's one of the beautiful things about America. But why can't, you know, in our final minute here, do this for me. John Guandolo, counter-terror expert and former FBI agent. So this guy knows the best of anybody. Where does George Soros come into the picture? Because I know he's been hitting local municipal races for DAs. I know he's been hitting state legislative races to pass different laws in states. Where does he come in? Where are the connections with Antifa?
Well, the funding and the operation between the communist organizations together, they're all working together. That's the key. Is the Antifa members? We've got Black Lives Matter leaders acknowledging Antifa support for what they're doing at individual rallies and at the national level. So they're working directly together. And of course, we have Antifa working overseas per declassified FBI documents with ISIS and Al Qaeda to plan attacks in the United States. So this is who Black Lives Matter and Antifa are. They are communist organizations that are violent, whose sole objective is to overthrow the government.
Hey Johnny, we got to take a break right here. This is really good stuff. Can you hang around for a few minutes and stick with us a little more? I want to get into a couple more topics. Give us another 5-10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this with more from FBI agent and counter-terror expert John Guandolo on Liquid Lunch right after this. I spoke about the other day when we talk about how George Soros is having an impact to change our society, and people are letting this go by. They're not realizing because there's so much noise. Forget the noise. Focus on the signal, okay? Here in New York, 2 attorneys, prominent attorneys, okay, were caught on tape throwing Molotov cocktails into a police car, okay? They were caught, snagged, okay? We got their photos, Nico? Okay, there they are, okay? And then this lady shows up, okay, Ms. Rizvi, okay? She received a scholarship to come into America from the CARE Foundation, which has been blown out of the water as, you know, an arm of terrorist funders. And she also received a scholarship from Paul and Daisy Soros Fellowships for New Americas, founded by the brother of left-wing megadonna George Soros. So the attorney from Ropes and Gray in New York, a quite liberal firm, comes to bail them out, and she is here working, also, by the way, worked in Obama's State Department and Defense Department. So, to break it down a little further, the guy who knows what's really going on behind the curtain, John Guandolo, joins us again, counterterror expert, FBI, former FBI agent. John, I have been trying to piece together public articles. You know, Facebook, they don't even let you find some of these articles based on what they think your preferences are, because they don't want you to get to them. This lady walked in and personally signed a $250,000 bond for a Molotov cocktail thrower, who's also an attorney, by the way. And she's like a partner in Ropes and Gray in New York. And she worked for Obama's State Department and got the Soros Foundation scholarship. I mean, to me, I think I'm on to something. What can you add to that? Tell me, please.
I don't think any of this should surprise us or your listeners or your viewers, because this is what number one, this is what the Democrat Party is. The Democrat Party is the Communist Party in the United States, and if people still don't understand that, then you do not understand the war in which you're engaged. This is a party that intentionally lied, put forth false information into the FISA court in order to try to criminally prosecute Donald J. Trump and have him removed from office. But the Democrat Party, the Communist Party, is leading an ongoing coup against the President of the United States that involves the directors of the FBI and the CIA, former directors, and the Director of National Intelligence. This is the fact that people, I mean, so the fact that a lawyer, excuse me, would throw a Molotov cocktail and another former Obama government official would bail her out, that doesn't surprise me at all. This stuff is going on all the time. These are enemies of the United States, and we need to stop talking about it as if this is and not you, but other people out there are talking about it like these are political considerations. We're in a war. They're launching a communist revolution in the United States, and they've been doing it and prepping the ground for several years now.
I agree with you, and I think I'm quite the Trump supporter, but I think that they are trying to lure Trump. They knew how poorly or how well Donald Trump was doing with African American voters. He was really doing well. The sentiment was like almost double the votes he got last time. So, I think there was a need here to solidify that base, and they're trying to lure him into putting troops in the street because that'll band up the minority vote. He's called the military on us.
Well, right, and we need to look from the Russia collusion lie to the impeachment to the Chinese COVID lie. I mean, honestly, a lie, because not that COVID isn't a real virus, but we know that the origin of COVID, we were told, was a lie. How COVID spreads as a disease, people without symptoms can actually give COVID. That turns out, WHO told us, 9 days ago, that's very rare that happens. Yet that was the very reason that we have quarantined well people for the last 3 months. A lie. The entire thing, a lie. And who's behind it? The Chinese and the communist left. So when you go forward and you look at what's going on right now, we have literally said, and one of my colleagues, Steve Coughlin, a month before it happened, was circulating a report of what was going to happen in Minneapolis. And it has absolutely come to pass. The reason we are able to predict these events is because when you understand how the communists and the jihadis operate and how they operate together, these are not conspiracy theories. These are well-organized, well-planned events that are being orchestrated at the international level. This is an incredible operation. The President of the United States has people around him that are not only clueless, They have now convinced the president to rely on establishment Republicans to get him reelected. And they brought back in Karl Rove. These are catastrophic failures. And I think the biggest problem in all of this are the Republicans, the establishment Republicans. They are doing devastating damage. I think if the president understood, which he does not, how well organized and well coordinated the communist and the jihadi movements are and how they're operating at the international, political, and geopolitical level, he would take much different actions than he's taken today.
Yeah, I bet I was scared when he brought in Bolton. I'm scared when he lets these people inside the hen house who were career institutionalists. But hey, we got to leave it there, Johnny. Thanks for hanging around for some extra time. And I want to have you back. I'm going to do my, rudimentary get smart investigating tactics, and then I'll run the macros by you, and you can tell me if I'm on the right path.
That would be great. I encourage you to encourage your listeners. Go to understandthethreat.com. We're doing a 2-day online training program next Monday and Tuesday. Encourage them to go to that, because we've got to get citizens to understand this threat so we can engage the bad guys at the ground level.
Okay, good. Make sure someone sends Nico the website for that, and I'll promote it the next few days. John Guandolo, counterterrorism expert, president and founder of Understanding the Threat, and former FBI agent. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more Liquid Lunch and Tisha Powell right after this.